Hari Om. We are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Sloka 27 to 29.
ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे कर्मयोगो नाम तृतीयोऽध्यायः. Sri Krishna Bhagavan said to Arjuna that all men should work in this world, including the man of self realization who acts without any attachment. In the Sloka 25, he indicated that an ignorant man acts with attachment. The question comes to our mind that how an ignorant man is attached to action. Bhagawan Sri Krishna now explains the same in slokas 27 to 29.
Sloka 27 प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैकर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते.
Summary Sloka 27. Bhagavan said, in the Prakruti, all actions are performed by the gunas, that is, qualities in a man. He who thinks that I am the doer is deluded by his ego. Bhagavan now stating how actions are generated and performed in this world in slokas 27. Lord elaborately explains the doership of actions to Arjuna. All actions are performed by Prakruti, the nature, through its gunas, but an ignorant and egoistic person believes that he is the doer of all actions. We need to understand the terms Prakruti, Gunas, and Ahankara. The Prakruti is the power of Brahman, that is Paramatma. The Paramatma or Brahman is also called Purusha, otherwise also called Supreme Consciousness. The power which originates from this Paramatma is called Prakruti. That itself indicates that the nature originates from Paramatma and is responsible for production of everything or creation of everything in this cosmos. Example, the body, which can be considered as the dress for Jivatma, performs all functions. The dress is made up of Prakruti. Prakruti is inert, but it has the power, and that is given by Paramatma. What is a guna? The qualities that are produced by the Prakruti, that are expressed in man from the birth, is called gunas. There are three gunas: tamoguna, inertia; rajoguna, action; and sattva guna, intelligence. We have learned about the gunas in the chapter 2, slokas 45. All qualities, that is, all gunas, normally in equilibrium in every one of us. We will further learn about gunas as we go ahead with our discussion of Bhagavad Gita. Tamoguna, as indicated, it is inertia, no action at all. Rajoguna with action, but action with a desire. And Sattva Guna is sattvic actions which are of divine in character and fully knowledge oriented. All these three gunas varies in every individual in every moment. In the night when we sleep, we are in tamoguna. When in the morning we wake up and we do lot of action, both which are good as well as bad, that is rajoguna. Sattva guna is when our actions are divine, and when we do puja or japa, our gunas will become sattvic. All these qualities are important in every human being. What is ahankara or ego? This also we have already discussed, but let us recapitulate. Ahankara is the reflected consciousness that identifies and endorses the body mind functions. All thoughts, desires, actions originates in the mind, strengthened in the mind, and initiate the performance of action through appropriate sense organs. This which we have already discussed. When ego endorses it, we feel that we are performing the action, but the action is being performed through mind with appropriate gunas playing their part in the action. So very important to remember. Example, I like to eat the dessert. I did a great job, etc. I, the small I, is the ego and eat great dessert or job or the actions that are being performed by the Prakruti as the mind and body is produced by Prakruti. Ego changes from time to time, but the self, which is you, does not change. The self or the Paramatma or Atma lights up the thoughts and body mind complex, and it is the witness of the action. Swami Sarvapriyananda eloquently defines what is ahankara or ego. Ahankara happens in the mind as that self which lights up the mind is being experienced as the reflected consciousness, and that identifies as well as support with the body mind complex. Very important to understand. So, the self, supreme consciousness, or Atma, lights up the mind as a reflected consciousness. It identifies with the body mind complex. That is called Ahankara. This is how we defined even before in the previous discussions. Example: stand in front of a mirror. You will see a reflected face. Reflected face is not the real face. Very important. So, reflected consciousness is not real. Mirror is the mind, and the reflected face is the reflected consciousness. Sabhasa. Modified mind and the reflected consciousness is known as Ahankara. So, very important to understand. The modified mind and the reflected consciousness is known as Ahankara. It functions as Pramata, knower and of the mind, Karta, the mind and the doer, Bhokta, mind and enjoyer. Swami further adds that spirituality is in the midst of intense action. The slokas 27 and 28 talks about it. Prakruti, a matter that produces everything. It creates everything, as we discussed before. Thought is also is a matter or an object, and the self, that is supreme consciousness, is real and it is you. When the self identifies with the mind and works with the body, then it is considered as ego, as we discussed before. Swami Nikhilananda beautifully describes 24 tattvas that governs the entire world. If one understands this, it is very easy to comprehend the meaning of the slokas. There are five great elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth, subtlest to gross. There are five characteristics of elements: space is sound, air is touch, fire is light, water is taste, and earth is smell. There are five organs of perceptions: sound is ear, touch is skin, light eyes, taste tongue, smell nose. Five organs of actions: speech, hands, movement, genital organs, and organs of excretion. Five antahkaranas: mind, intellect, chitta, that is memory, and ahankara, ego. All of the above are the products of Prakruti, that is the nature. Three gunas, tamas, rajas, and sattva, are also products of Prakriti that plays with these 24 components which are performing all actions. A person who identifies with these 24 components has a notion that he is the doer. He further adds that there is a confusion about the difference between Prakriti and Purusha. When the self, that is ego, identifies with the mind body complex and considers performing all actions.
Sloka 28. Tattvavitthu तु महाबाहुः गुणकर्मविभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते.
Summary Sloka 28. O mighty armed, one who knows the truth about the types of the gunas, their functions, and gunas that facilitate the movement of senses and sense objects, is not attached.
Slokas 29. प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दानः कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्.
Summary Sloka 29. Those deluded by the gunas or attached to the functions of the gunas, the man of perfect knowledge should not unsettle the foolish who have imperfect knowledge. In contrast, Bhagavan explains in slokas 28 and 29 that the wise person who is centered and knows about all tattvas and its origin, function, and knows and understands how gunas function, he is not attached to any action or its results. Bhagavan further adds that an ignorant person who is dull, does not know the mechanisms of Prakruti, should not be unsettled by wise person, but to guide them on true knowledge of the doership and encourage them to perform actions as usual. Swami Chinmayananda states that the wise man has the discrimination to understand that in all activities, it is the mind that projects out to perform all actions. He knows that all actions belong to the world of mind, hence, no anxiety for the fruits of action.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः.